Hello, everybody. So today's case, right off the bat, I want to give a child, or not child. It is a case about a child, but I want to give you a trigger warning because this definitely gives some really hard details. When I was reading it, I was completely stunned that anybody would do this to a child. Um, so a trigger warning for child death. Um, it's going to be really hard to listen to. There's a lot of child cruelty. The facts are just completely disturbing. It's definitely one of the more painful videos I've done on a child. I've done a lot of child videos, but there's just something about this one that really just like it pierced me in the heart. So I want to put out there that this is going to be a hard one to listen to. Please be respectful down below regarding Cali. Um, I don't expect y'all to be mean, but I just want to put that out there. Never, be cruel about the victim. She was only a little girl, so don't be saying anything disgusting or rude. As for the people involved, I don't really care. They were horrible to her, but just, yeah. All the links I used to research will be down below, like always. Uh, and let's go ahead and get in this. I keep wanting to put it off because I know it's going to be so hard to even talk about, but we really do need to talk about it. So let's get in. Like I said, Cali was only 5 years old, and her life was savagely taken from her. Again, the details on this case are disturbing, and so, again, another trigger warning for cruelty and her death. So, Callie's life had actually been terrible from the very beginning, and there were signs, but no one wanted to believe that something was happening to this little girl. And because no one wanted to believe that this was happening, this death was not avoided. So, Callie's mom, Leonie Robinson, um, said that Tyler Anderson, her father, had full custody of their daughter. Leonie says that Callie was always smiling, and uh, she wishes that her daughter had been with her instead of with Tyler. Tyler was allegedly battling an addiction to crack cocaine when he was given full custody of Callie by a now retired judge by the name of Cinda Riggins. Unger? Leonie was at a socio-economical disadvantage, and she had a tough time kind of wading through the complexities of the Solano County family court system, and because of this, Tyler would end up getting custody. It's important to note that Leonie had been fighting for years to see her daughter. She really loved Callie to death. She wanted her child to be with her. And if she had been given to her, this probably wouldn't have happened. So Cinder Riggins Unger, her actions in this case aren't uncommon. She is known, or was known, to have a gender bias in her courtroom and would give parental custody to dangerous male addicts or males leaving the prison system, regardless of what their charges had been for. So they could be very violent criminals, and she would not care. She would give it to the men for whatever reason. And that is so disturbing and disgusting. Instead of placing these children with a safe person to be with, she would give them to these criminals, these people who are battling addiction. I'm not saying that addicts are, always violent. I'm just saying that is not a life a child should be growing up with. And it's disturbing to think that this judge just did not care and was giving them, basically handing them off into a really bad life. And if she hadn't ruled for Tyler, Callie might still be alive today. But unfortunately, she would go through things that no child should. So, what happened to Callie? Let's talk about it. I was unable to find much about her, but she was said to be loved by so many people. On May 15th, 2018, a man named Joe Garcia would call police to his Sacramento storage unit after he found a plastic drum that contained the body of a decomposing child. The unit was located on the 1800 block of Glen Rose Avenue, and Joe Garcia said that uh, Tyler, a Nevada, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce for some reason. He said that Tyler, who was a Nevada resident had called him and asked if he could store stuff in Joe's unit on May 11th. On May 14th, he asked if he could store even more stuff, and the next day he discovered the body that unfortunately did belong to Cali. So the Reno PD says that Tyler and his wife, Cali's stepmom, Avriana, rented a vehicle which was used to transport her body from Reno to Sacramento. An affidavit states that it was a U-Haul van that was rented on May 10th. According to the coroner's exam, Cali appeared to be malnourished and emaciated. Many accounts saying starved, basically. She was starved. Reno PD believed that Cali, sometime in the 2 weeks prior to this, in the Anderson apartment is when she died. So arrest affidavits say that Avriana stated during an interview with the police that Cali was experiencing health problems but did not seek medical attention for her because Cali was her husband's daughter and therefore his responsibility. And I just want to say that that is such a disgusting outlook. This is your stepdaughter. Therefore, even if you're not blood, she is still your child, in your care, your responsibility. This child is having a health issue. She's clearly not being given food. It's described as if she was starved, malnourished, emaciated. This child is suffering. She's having obviously health issues, probably centered around that. And you're just not going to take her to a hospital because it's not your responsibility. When I read that, I wanted to reach the screen and strangle that woman because that is so disgusting, so disturbing. It's the lack of empathy that I can't understand. I don't understand it. But I don't want to go off my soapbox just quite yet. We're going to go into more information about the affidavit, and the following is also from the affidavit. So I have some bullet points, just stuff to quickly go over. So the first bullet point, Avriana said that Cali became unresponsive on May 4th around 10 p.m. and the Andersons tried CPR until 1 a.m. before putting Cali in a cold shower in an attempt to wake her. They did not call 911. This child is unconscious. They're not even trying to call help. So the second bullet point is they put Cali's body in a duffel bag and then put the bag in a closet for 7 days. Still did not seek help. 3. After serving a search warrant at their apartment, the police found an animal crate in the bathroom with handcuffs attached, a girl's backpack next to the crate with clothes inside, and a hat that said Cali on it. There were no signs of a pet living in the apartment. That animal crate with the handcuffs was for a 5-year-old child. It was for this child that was being starved. She was being handcuffed in an animal crate. I've heard a lot of heinous shit. If you hear that noise, I am so sorry. That is my dog. She is dreaming right now, so I'm very sorry if you... Yep, hold on. Sorry, I'm back. I went to go wake her up so she's not crying and disturbing the video. But this child, this 5-year-old child, this little baby, beautiful baby girl, handcuffed to an animal crate, being starved. It's disgusting. Point number 4. Neighbors thought the Andersons only had 2 kids, boys, because Tyler and Avriana had 2 of their own, and no one ever mentioned a girl. They never talked about Cali. It's believed they isolated her from the public. No one knew she existed, except for her mother, basically, and them. It feels like she was handcuffed to a crate and being starved for most of her time. 5. When entering the home to speak with Avriana, the Reno PD noticed the home was extremely unkempt with spoiled food on the counters and floors. So Avriana just didn't care in general. You have 2 other children in this home. You're not cleaning it. You're leaving nasty, disgusting food out. What if these children touch this food? What if they eat this food? Um, I'm sure it was a lot more than just nasty food. Why would you want your children living in a house like that? That is so disgusting. Those were like the 5 points that I really wanted to go over. Um, so let's continue. Detectives would arrest Tyler, and he was booked into the Sacramento Main County Jail on manslaughter charges, where he awaited extradition back to Reno. Ariana was in custody at the Washoe County Jail in Reno, facing 2 charges: child abuse and destroying or concealing evidence. Both Tyler and Ariana both pled guilty to murder charges in Cali's death, Ariana to first-degree murder and Tyler to second-degree murder. They also pled guilty to destruction of evidence. The court documents state that Ariana, quote, did willfully and unlawfully kill Cali Anderson by means of torture. She intentionally withheld food and water for the, quote, specific purpose of inflicting pain by means of starvation, for revenge, or for the sadistic purpose of hatred of Cali, due to the fact that Cali was not her biological child, end quote. So she intentionally withheld food and water. She intentionally starved, intentionally tortured Cali because she had like this bias, this hatred that because she's not her daughter, she just hated her. I cannot imagine hating a child, but anyone that much that you would just starve them like that. I can't imagine that. They both initially faced a charge of child abuse causing substantial bodily harm, but it was dropped. As of August 2021, Ariana was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 20 years, which I don't even think she should have been given that, in my opinion. They said she purposely did this. What she did was absolutely horrific, and after 20 years, she can be up for parole. Not saying that she would get it. I just don't even think it should be a possibility in her case. I really think they should have taken that away. I truly do. I could not find a verdict for Tyler, but it's expected he'll receive a similar life in prison with possibility of parole verdict like Ariana did. If not, maybe even less, because he agreed to second degree, and she got first degree. So it might not be as severe, which is not really severe in my opinion, as hers. So, in commenting on the verdict and sentence, the um, DA Hicks, he said, quote, Callie died mercilessly at the hands of those who should be the very first to protect her. No child should ever suffer the way she did, and our entire community mourns her death. The verdict and sentence reached today is only a small measure of justice for her, end quote. And I wouldn't even really call it justice because I feel like Avriana deserves longer. I cannot imagine hating a child so much that you purposefully torture them. An animal crate, they are emaciated. You are isolating her from the world. I cannot imagine doing all that and just, yeah, you could get out in 20 years. It's upsetting. And I think her punishment should have been harsher. So, a man named Kevin Ward who knows Tyler, his quote says, It's hard for me to believe Tyler would do anything like this or be involved in something like this because he loved that little girl, but you don't know what people do behind closed doors, end quote. And I don't like this quote. I get that Kevin probably only sees like one side of Tyler, and you're not going to show people that you're this abusive father, that you hate your child, or that you're torturing them. No, you're not going to show people that side. So I kind of resent that he said this because I can't believe that he would do this. Well, he did do this, and he allowed Avriana to do it. And clearly he did because this child this child is 5. I don't She's not starving herself, which means someone else in this house is, and if it's not Tyler, let's say it wasn't him, then it's Ariana. He didn't bother to tell this woman to feed my fucking child, take care of my fucking child, take care of our children. He didn't bother to say that. He didn't bother to do anything as far as I'm concerned, which is why he's being charged. You did not step in to do anything. So to say, I can't believe he would do anything like this, I kind of resent that because he did do it. That's why he's going to prison. And I find that gross. And he kind of, at the end was like, well, you don't know what happens behind closed doors. You don't. But now we do because it came out. And I resent that. We have another quote, and it's from Leonie. And she says, how could you do this to your own child? And she says that she had overwhelming feelings of anger, sadness, and disappointment. She also says that she's heartbroken and angry she didn't have custody of Cali, and says that she would have taken proper care of her child. And she goes on to say, I would have made sure she had clothes on her back and food in her belly at all times. End quote. And I can't imagine having to fight years for your child, and then it being handed to this man with an addiction, and a stepmother who hates her guts, and knowing you would have done your very best to take care of this child would be alive, and now they're not because they were not get put in your care. I I feel like some of the blame also rests on that judge for making a really shitty decision. That is all I have in this case. I will obviously update whenever I see or hear about Tyler's verdict. I don't know if it just hasn't went through the court system. I would assume not. Like his trial, I mean. But once I hear about it, I will of course update you guys in an update video. But for now, that is all I have. I am so sorry I had to bring you this video today. I know it was hard to listen to, but I wanted to talk about little Cali. Thank you so much for listening to her story. Keep her in your thoughts, and yeah, I will see you guys very soon. Bye, guys.